G'day City Skylines fans, we're back with another feature highlight, number 12 this week, which is sound and music. This week we get an insight into sound, including ambient sounds, how they grouped audio so it's not just a loop which isn't as realistic, vehicles, citizen and animal sounds, music, and they have so much detail on the composer and the process on the blog, so if that's your interest, definitely check that out. It's quite something. Radio stations as well. We start the game with 2, but like City Skylines 1, we'll probably get more as DLC drops in the future, no doubt, although we'll just have to wait and see. What's cool is there's more to the radio this time around. The DJs actually react to your city if there's an emergency, and they interrupt the broadcast. So cool. I was chatting with the community in our Discord, City of Friends. There's a link to that in the description below if you want to join us. But we were chatting last week about how music and sound can really make a game in terms of the atmosphere. And from what I've just watched in this feature highlight video, City Skylines 2 is not going to be any different. So let's dive in. Starting with sound, we find out that almost all service buildings and their upgrades have unique sounds that reflect the building's kind of functionality, but also provide us detailed information about its operational status. What's also quite cool is the audio reacts to the camera position, so when we move around our city, the audio changes. If you check out the highlight video after this, you can see that in action, and it's actually quite incredible as the camera pans around the city, that you just hear sounds from, say, houses to forests, you hear the birds chirping. It's really quite something. The audio track changes with temperature or weather, so if it's snowing or it starts to rain, you can actually start to hear that. They go on to talk about the audio ambience and soundscape and how immersive it is, providing a solid audio background for all situations in our city. Then they go on to talk about audio grouping, and to be honest, this was really fascinating to me because, if you use sort of near and far sounds or small audio loops, I guess it wouldn't sound realistic. I mean, I'm not an audio expert, but that sounds like a difficult task to me. So when we look at the audio grouping section of the blog, it explains how all of that comes together and how we can hear sounds near to us and then in the background as well in the distance. So maybe there's a siren that's going on somewhere sort of further on in the city. We can hear that as a background noise to what's going on right in front of us. Really clever. We then come on to vehicle, citizen and animal sounds, and they talk about how they put emphasis on vehicle and traffic sounds as they are a core part of our city, and that makes sense. What's really cool is vehicle audio changes based on the speed of the vehicle, and a style variation for vehicle sirens is chosen automatically based on our theme. So we have American sirens and European sirens, which I think is a nice touch. They've taken that audio one step further, and when we click on a citizen, the audio cues reflect their age, gender and even their mood. Then we move on to music, and it goes into so much detail on the blog about the composer, the process, there's pictures and so much detail. So if that's really what interests you, I definitely recommend jumping over to the blog. I'll put a link in the description below. Last but by no means least, we get onto the radio. So we're starting the game with 2 different radio networks, with the biggest difference being the type of content they have between the songs. The Public Citizen Radio is a public network that leans a bit more towards classical and miscellaneous popular music. That one plays public service announcements but has no ads, whereas Urban City Radio is a commercial network, being more around popular music. The commercial network plays ads but has no public service announcements. And when we look at the video, we can see that we can turn those ads off if we choose to, which I think is also a nice touch. What's really cool to see though is in addition to playing music station talk shows and ads, the new radio system is capable of more intricate behavior that can take simulation conditions into account. So the example given is when a fire breaks out, it actually interrupts the broadcast on the radio to give a public service announcement, which I think is really cool because I don't know about you, but sometimes it's really easy to get caught up in building in one part of the city and not realizing that the other half is burning to the ground while we're distracted. So that is definitely a welcome feature. And there we have feature highlight 12, sound and music. Short and sweet. We've got an insight into ambient sounds, how they've grouped the audio, vehicle, citizen and animal sounds, also the music and certainly those radio stations which I just love. As I've said, I'll put a link to both the feature highlight video and the blog in the description below, but drop me a comment below and let me know what your thoughts are around the sound and music. Next week's our last dev diary, which is cinematic camera and photo mode, so that one will be interesting to see as well. But until next time, thanks for watching and have a great day.